All right, folks, we're going to take you through one of the most important tutorials today. This is going to be how you create prompts and sections for your newsletter. This is pretty much the core focus of NewsletterBuilder.ai and our AI capabilities and functions. And we have ways for you to be able to create prompts so that you want from our LLMs. Let's get started. So from your main dashboard, you can head over to the Manage tab. You're going to go into your blocks. So click blocks. You can manage prompts and blocks for any type of content you want. So all of these different types of content will generate content for that specific platform that you choose. For today, we're just going to get into newsletter because that is the basis of the Newsletter Builder app. You can focus on the other ones whenever you please. It's pretty much the same process. So we're going to go into manage. Now, you'll see that there's two different types of blocks in NewsletterBuilder.ai. There are static blocks and there are AI blocks. Basically, the difference is the AI blocks will actually generate AI output, so they're AI-powered blocks. So when you drop or insert content into them in the builder, it will use the prompt in the backend that we're going to build soon to generate your content. Now, static blocks are pretty much the name of it says itself, is they're just static. So they don't go through any AI generation. These would be things that you would have like in your newsletter over and over again that you don't change. Like maybe it's an outro or a welcome message or a call to action for, signing up for a form or an image that's always displayed, anything like that. So we're going to focus on doing an AI block right now. So what you can do is you can actually just hit AI Block Studio, and it's going to take you to our prompt builder. And so I know this looks a little terrifying, but I promise it's not. So right here, you can pick what kind of content type you would like to set the prompt up for. We're going to focus on newsletter today. Then you're going to write your segment name. So this is important. This is what the block is going to be called so that you can fetch it from your sidebar. This is also the text that's going to show up in your newsletter output. So I'm going to bring up an example of a newsletter and we're going to take a look at what I mean. So let's just go to Morning Brew. Let's see what their latest issue is. Okay, so this is the latest issue of Morning Brew, famous newsletter, that's why I'm using it. And so as you can see, they have all of their different sections of their newsletter kind of in these little blocks. And that's what I talk about when I talk about blocks, is basically newsletters are built together, kind of like a Lego set. They're just blocks stacked on top of each other with different pieces of content. And you can see that they also have these headers at the top. So when I was talking about putting in your segment name and your block name in NewsletterBuilder.ai, this is what I'm talking about. So for instance, if you have a section just called entertainment, you would just literally put in entertainment, and that is what will show up at the end of the process of the output of your newsletter. Next is the heading level. Actually, I'm just going to change that to artificial intelligence. Next is the heading level. Again, this is important because we don't send emails from Newsletter Builder. You copy or export them into your sending platform. So whether you use Beehive or ConvertKit, whatever, picking these heading levels to match the heading levels that you've chosen in your email sending platform is key, because it will take on the formatting of the template and the styling that you have used in your Beehive account. So for an example, if we go back to Morning Brew, it looks like they use an H3 header and they're like a baby blue color. So when you pick this and you pick H3, if I were to copy this block into Beehive or into my Morning Brew template, it would show up exactly as that. So that's important too. So I'm going to put mine as an H3 header for artificial intelligence. Now you can get into some complex different things here. You can enable a subheading. So this would show up just underneath the artificial intelligence in the block that we have in the newsletter. You can change its heading levels to whatever you want, H2, H4, whatever. But for today, I am not going to do a subheader. If this is a intro block, so the intro of your newsletter, you'll want to click this on, and then it will know to not actually produce content from that you paste in it. It will actually know to write an intro block based off the content of your newsletter. We'll get into that in another video, but just know that if you click that, it will turn it into an intro block and it won't work the same way as an AI prompt block. Anyways, next. Okay, now we're getting into the meat of it. So whether you're new or not to AI and prompting, it's actually a lot simpler than it thinks. You just want to tell AI exactly how you want to write your AI prompt. So basically what this is it's just giving instructions to our LLMs on how you want the output of your content to be. And so I'm super lazy, or maybe call it efficient, but I just use AI to tell me how to actually create my prompts. So if you have even the free version of ChatGPT, you can do this no problem. So for instance, let's go and we're going to try to recreate a morning brew style output by using AI. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to open ChatGPT. You can copy and paste, an entire section of a newsletter that you like or your own newsletter, and I just paste it into ChatGPT here, and I say, write me a prompt to get this sort of output every time for my newsletter. There's a few different things that you're going to need to want to call out here too. So because you're not giving the ChatGPT rich text, you're going to want to tell it like about where you want links, if you want them embedded inline, or if you want a call to action for a read more link at the bottom if you don't want links at all. So I want my links to be inline. And inline just means basically that your link is going to get plugged in somewhere naturally in the flow of your content. So that's an inline link here, as you can see, and it goes out to the original source of that content. So I want my links to be embedded inline naturally in the flow of my content. I want a bolded header, let's call it a bolded title for the content. No emojis. AI loves emojis for some reason, so if you don't want them, just tell them. Boom, let's see what it comes up with. So as you can see, it's basically writing the output for you, gives you some rules. It's kind of taking that smart brevity approach, gives you some constraints, know this, know that, blah, 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 blah. And so if you're happy with that, you can literally just copy this entire thing and paste it into NewsletterAI. And to get even a more refined approach, you can copy the original content that you took, and you're going to copy it right into sample output. So once you're happy with that, you can go up to the top and you can save that as a block. Now you'll see that that immediately just showed up here, and this is where you can manage all of your blocks and prompts. So if you want to delete one or edit one or any type of thing like that, you can do that. Your subject line prompt is hard-coded here, so it will always live here. You can't delete it, but you can change the way your subject lines are written by editing that as well. And your newsletter intro is always there as well, but you can edit it by hitting this button and editing and telling it the way you want it to write your intro. Okay, so that's one way to create an AI block. Now there is also another way, and this is my favorite way. It's using our AI assistant to actually help you to write the way from your pasted content. And what that means is you provide it samples of your content in rich text, and it will run through our backend prompt engineering agent, and it will recreate a prompt. And these ones are actually way, way better, I find, than pasting into ChatGPT. So we'll use the Morning Brew edition, and we'll add a couple samples of Morning Brew's writing into our AI assistant, and we'll see what it comes up with. So I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to go down to, let's just use this one again, and oops, we'll just copy this, and we will put that into the sample. You can add multiple samples if you want to really, really get it refined. I find actually just using one is typically good enough. Don't worry about images. It doesn't reflect anything with images, so that's not a problem. If you want to give it further instructions on, the CTAs that you would like to have on the output, you can do that, and you can try to, give it a target length, so a long, medium, or short type. I usually just let it detect from the samples because it's usually pretty spot on. So you can analyze the style, And you're going to see how much more refined this is because our agent is now actually going in and analyzing the content, the tone, the structure, the formatting, everything. And it gives you an analysis after. So it tells you the voice and tone, it tells you the structure, sentences, like the amount of words per sentence, style, the formatting, bold section for headers, italics for publication names, strike through for humorous correction. So it's pretty good. Line links for the CTAs and the URLs. And so, this is way more refined than what we did with ChatGPT. So once we hit this, it's now going to generate a prompt for you. And so now what this is doing is taking all of those rules and analysis that it just did, and it's creating a very, very high level prompt. And so this is the generated output for your prompt. So this is the prompt that will now be saved to that block. And you get a little sample output preview. So this is just a sample of how it may or may not look when you are actually processing content through that AI prompt in its block. So if you're happy with that, and I am, we just basically recreated the way Morning Brew actually writes its articles, and you can hit use this prompt. So now it's saved in here. You can see that prompt that it created is now saved in your block here, and you just go to save block, and I just got to give this a name, and I will say Morning Brew AI. Heading level, I'm going to give it an H3, and we're going to save this block. Cool. And as you can see, it just saved right there. Okay, so static blocks, I'm just going to go through this one super quick. This is like just super easy. You can create blocks here that by adding elements, so you can add a header, a text, an image, a button, a divider, or AI content if you wish. So I'm just going to add an image today just to show you how it works. And we will just add in this, whatever this is, this AI generated image. Looks like there was no image actually attached to that. So we will do, let's just do some text for an example. So there you go. And you can save that as a block, and now you can see it saved there. You can edit these and delete these at any time you want as well. So where the heck did these prompts go now that we've created them, these AI blocks and these static blocks? All right, so from here, if you want to start writing with the AI blocks that you've just created, you go to create a new newsletter, blank draft, and now you are in our builder. And so you can see that all of those blocks that we just created are now here, okay? And we have a whole bunch of templates as well. These are AI-powered blocks that we have created for you if you just want to use them in a pinch, or if you can't get anything, started with creating your own prompts. These are pretty good. We've actually went through hundreds of different newsletters, analyzed them, and recreated their tone and structure, some template blocks for you. And if you want to use them, you can actually copy them to your AI blocks, rename the header, rename the block name, and just add them to your blocks, and it will save those in your AI blocks, and you can now use them. So anyways, now let's see the outcome of the prompts that we saved. So remember, we used ChatGPT's prompt for artificial intelligence, and we used our internal AI prompt assistant to use the Morning Brew. So let's go and see what the difference is between the outputs. So we're just going to click that in, and we're going to try to see what the artificial intelligence AI prompt has as an outcome. And so we'll just pick any one of these random articles, and we will throw it in there. And let's see how this outcome is. Okay, so we have our bolded title. We have our bunch of text, pretty lengthy, but like that is the way that Morning Brew kind of does things. And then we have our call to action link right here as well. So it's pretty good. That's actually not bad for one-shotting that prompt in ChatGPT. So let's delete this, and let's see how the AI assistant actually did it with we'll use the same article. And there you go. So this one actually I like better, and I'll tell you why. The structure is a little bit easier to read, and it actually, if you notice, it dropped 2 links in here. And so this is interesting because a lot of the more professional newsletter outlets and media publications will actually link to a couple different stories. And so you'll see that it actually linked out to this story here from the original article that we pulled from, and also this story here, which are two separate stories, but it linked in both of them. So kind of interesting way to do things. Obviously, if you don't want it to link to two separate articles, you can just go back in and change the prompt. You can edit your prompts right from the screen as well. So if you didn't like the way that output was, you can just hit edit and you can change any of these instructions that you want. And you can tell it to, be shorter, be longer, be less corporate, whatever you want. And to test them out, you just save the changes and delete this and then try to drag it again and pull some more content in there. And just keep doing that over and over again and adjusting till you actually get the perfect outcome that you want. So that is way number one to create AI prompt blocks. And I will show you way number two that we can use from this interface to actually create new blocks as well. So I will do that in the second video. I will drop a link in our knowledge base to that.